Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. Today, we are talking to Onyx from International Pagan Radio. Here's your host, Lord Knight.
Interesting story how that came to be. First of all, what is it? International Pagan Radio. Interesting story about that. What the hell is it?
What are you talking about?
I'm hoping that at least some of your listeners know what International Pagan Radio is. If it's not, I haven't been doing my job. International Pagan Radio is a streaming radio station, online streaming radio station on the internet, interwebs, on the crystal wind. You can find us at internationalpaganradio.com. We have been online for a little over a decade now, or you can listen to us on the TuneIn Radio app. When in its inception, a gentleman by the craft name of Alman Castrata, his name's Jeremy, it's easier to say. I was managing a network called Spiritual Unity Radio Network at the time. And I was hosting a show called LCO on BTR. And I get this email from Jeremy saying that he had this idea for an internet radio station. He wanted to call it International Pagan Radio. And he said, I don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I want to fund a radio station that is only online. Now, at that time, this was 10 years ago, some terrestrial broadcast radio stations were simulcasting, and there were a few here and there little tiny mom and pop kind of hobby radio stations online, but there's nothing. And little hobbyist radio stations would come online for a couple hours a day, maybe nothing. I'm like, hey, that's a really cool idea. But if you want to do it, if you want me to manage it, then first things first. When I got out of the Army, that's what I was doing. I was a manager. That was my trade, stock and trade. Other than being a priest, that was my stock and trade. I was managing. That's what I do. I manage. And my first rule of management is, if you want me to manage, you got to let me manage. Right? Don't give me a title and not give me the job. So that's what I told him. So if you want me to manage, you got to let me manage. You give me the numbers I got to work with. Tell me what you want to get done. Back off and let me do my job. All right? Or in my new vernacular, shut up and let me work.
See, for me, it was, do you want me to fix it or do you want to keep on talking about it?
Yeah, shut up and let me work, He goes, okay, that's the deal. He goes, there's a caveat to that. He says, the only thing I want to do is I want to design the logo. I'm like, really? All right. I had no graphic experience, so I'm like, yeah, whatever. I ate those words, by the way, but we can talk about that in a minute. But so he says, okay. Now, back up a little bit. I said I was hosting a show called LCO on BTR. About 3 months prior to that, it was me and Willow Wormsong who was doing LCO on BTR. We had done a show about paganism and archaeology. I'll tie this together just a moment. So I did some research, paganism and archaeology. Did some research, and we brought on that show an archaeologist, a professional archaeologist named Charlene Walls, and somebody we like to call an armchair archaeologist. He was doing an armchair archaeologist, basically a hobby archaeologist, who was doing an article in Pagan World Times called Visions of the Past. And basically what he was doing in that article was researching archaeological sites on the internet and then comparing them to modern pagan ideas about that site.
Right.
Like he was researching like Göbekli Tepe and pulling in modern pagan thoughts about what Göbekli Tepe was about, and then comparing them. You follow me?
Right.
What modern pagans thought about Göbekli Tepe, and then what the archaeologists are actually saying about it. Cool concept.
Right.
This man's name was William Brinkley. Ring a bell? So William had never done any radio work, never done any voice work at all. He was all writing in the head, right? But he was also a graphic artist, which I didn't know at the time, right? So after a little bit of cajoling and everything, I got him talked into coming on the show. So it was me and Willow hosting with William Brinkley and Charlene Walls on LCO and BTR, and this archaeology and paganism. So we had this professional archaeologist and this armchair archaeologist together on the show. Beautiful show. Wonderful show. Well, William and I hit it off, right? And we became friends. Well, over the next few months, I had talked him into doing a show over on Spiritual Unity Radio Network. So kind of got his feet wet doing radio, right? Well, then here comes Jeremy, and our friendship had developed more and more. In comes Jeremy with this proposal for IPR. So when he said that, and he accepted that you can manage. Now, he didn't tell me the numbers. He just said he would fund it if I would manage it. Now, I found out that William was a graphic artist by this time. So I agreed to let the caveat Jeremy to do the logo. Okay. Signed, sealed, delivered. As soon as I hung up with Jeremy, I called William. Hey, William, guess what we're doing? William goes, what are we doing? I said, we're running a radio station. He goes, we're doing what? I said, yeah, we're launching a radio station, IPR. I said, we got a budget. I don't know what the budget is yet. The only caveat is he gets to do the logo. He goes, you told him he could do the logo. I said, yeah. He goes, okay, well, I'll handle everything else graphic-wise. What's the logo look like? I don't know. He's sending it to me along with the budget. He goes, okay. Well, when you get the budget, and when you get to handle the budget because you're the manager, but I get to send me the graphic when you get it. So he sent me the graphic. He sent me the graphic. It was butt ugly. That is an understatement. I mean, that logo popped on my screen and my eyes bled. It was ugly. But that was the agreement. We would use that logo. I was afraid to send it to William because I thought William was going to quit on me. It was that ugly. We got it up, got it running. He sent me the budget, and the budget was so small that it took us probably a week to find a platform to launch on under that budget.
Dang. I mean, back then, finding a platform was even harder.
Yeah, it was hard to find a platform at all. And to find one to launch on under that platform with music, we actually had to go out to artists and ask them to donate music.
Right.
The budget was that small.
I mean, because this is like the real early days of streaming and stuff like this. This stuff's not working quite like it does now.
No. We finally launched on Valentine's Day and on a shoestring budget. It was just me and William. When I say shoestring, we're talking micro shoestring. It was tiny. But he had the rights to it, and we launched. 3 days later, Cauldron launched under Melissa Anderson.
Uh-huh.
We had no idea that Melissa was going to launch. All right. Didn't even know. I knew of Melissa, Circle of Ancient Sisters. Yeah, tangentially knew her kind of thing through craft web weaving, if that makes sense.
Right.
Knew of her. Might have talked to her a couple of times. Don't know for sure. but she launched 3 days later. So as time went along, about a month or two later, Jeremy calls me up and he goes, "Hey, lost my job. I think IPR is going to die. I don't have the money for it." Called up William, and we're like, "We're not going to let this die. Give us the rights, and we'll keep it going." So that's what happened when William and I took over IPR. He lost his job. He worked out on an oil rig in the Gulf. Lost his job. We took over IPR 2 months, like a month and a half, 2 months after that. And we've been online now for about 10 years.
10 years.
So
10 years.
now.
No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. You went from 0 listeners now to how many places?
Well, we're reporting. What are you asking? How many places? We're international, baby. We're reporting. It varies.
Yeah.
But we're reporting somewhere in the neighborhood between 35 to 40,000 listens a month. And it goes higher than that, goes lower than that. But overall, I think last month was right about, if I'm remembering last month's report, was about 42,000.
Damn.
42,000. That's reported listens. Now everything don't get reported. That's only royalty listens.
Well, we're nowhere close to that.
We can actually say that we've got listens reported on every continent.
Ah, dang.
Including Antarctica. Yeah, Antarctic Station. We've got listens in Antarctica. So somebody down there in the middle of nowhere, sub-zero weather, freezing his ass off, walking to IPR. Maybe he's listening to some Litha song or something, trying to stay warm. Beltane fires, Here's the thing about it, though, Knight. We've been on the air, not on the air, on stream. I keep saying on the air because it's a radio thing. You can listen to us anywhere there's internet. But International Pagan Radio has been in the red, deeply bleeding finances every year.
I can believe it.
Every year. We have never, ever broke even any year we've been on running. It has all the finances to run IPR comes out of mine and William's pocket. There is a donate button there. There is ways to buy merchandise. There is a Patreon site. There's places for advertisers. We've run ad campaigns. Not ad campaigns. We run donation campaigns. We pay our license fee. We pay our streaming fees. We pay royalties to our artists. Yes, we pay royalties to our artists. The more popular. Here's the issue. Everybody says, "Well, why don't you advertise and why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" Well, here's the problem. There's a difference between terrestrial radio and internet radio. Big difference. The more popular we get, the more it costs us to operate. Terrestrial radios pay a fee to broadcast music. So they may pay X number of $1,000 to broadcast so-and-so song. And everybody that can tune in can listen to it. And it doesn't matter if 50,000 people listen to it. They pay X number a month, X dollars.
Right.
Now, I'm going to put a number on it, but I don't know the number. So understand this, okay? They may pay $1,000 to play song Y. And 50,000 people can listen to it, or 2 people can listen to it. They still pay $1,000.
Right.
So, yes, they want as many people as they can to listen to it. Not so with streaming radio. We pay for every single person that listens to it.
Right.
So if one person listens to it, we pay a penny. If 50,000 people listen to it, we pay 50,000 pennies. So popularity to us is a double-edged sword.
Right.
The more people we get to listen, the more expensive it is for us.
We have to support it.
We want the community to have this, but it needs to be a community-driven service. No one at IPR makes any money except for the artists.
All right.
Our hosts bless every single one of them. Lady Bridget Eldar has been with us since the very freaking beginning that does Ask a Witch. Every one of her episodes is donated. Her time, her wisdom, everything is donated. Mojo Kemp. I don't know if anybody knows who Mojo Kemp is, other than he's a host on our radio station. Do you remember Chalice and Blade, the group Chalice and Blade? Ancient Mother. Yeah, I'm butchering the song, right?
Yeah.
Chalice and Blade. He was a member of Chalice and Blade.
Okay.
Okay. Mojo Kemp donates his services, donates his, A Moment with Moj. Right. Mojo Kemp was a member of that band and helped write that and do that song. And much of their work. That's Mojo Kemp. Donates his time and his talent. Right?
Right.
Everybody at the station, all our hosts, all of our staff donate their time. William puts up the website, keeps it running. Everything you see on the website, he did. He programmed it. He designed it.
Well, I'm sure you're not getting a lot of advertisements anyway. You're only going to get right.
We have no advertisers. We have a Patreon site that is $5 a month. $5 a month. That gives you access to our archives. People say, well, can I go back and listen to old episodes? We're a radio station, people. Why can't I go back and listen to episodes that used to played before? Can I? We're a radio station, people. What part of radio station don't you understand? We're not Spotify. We're a radio station. It took us forever to come off and put archives up. Why don't you have archives? Because we want you to tune in. Yeah. We want you to listen to the radio station. Tune in when the show plays, because we want you to listen to the artist's songs. We are a radio station, kind of like a television station. Right. We're trying to develop a little bit of nostalgia here. You come and you sit down and you listen to Roy Rogers around the radio. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay. Radio. We're trying to develop that.
You're trying to build culture.
Thank you.
But to build culture, it requires the community to interact and to support it.
Thank you. But we did come off. We put some of our stuff in archives. All right. And we did it on Patreon. And we tried that because what we wanted to do is we needed to find a way to get people to support the station. It's $5 a month for our Patreon site. And for that $5, it helps to support the station. Some of our archives are there. We don't have all of them there because we're trying to get people to tune in. Right.
Right.
So people go, well, what do I get for $5? You get access to some of our archives, yes. But the idea is that you're a part of building the magic. You're a part of creating this. You're a part of building this culture of radio, of coming back to, everybody talks about tradition and history. Mm-hmm. And why not? Hey, so-and-so is playing on the radio. Let's go listen to it. Let's get together. Let's fellowship. Let's sit down and listen to this together. Let's go sit around the radio and listen to this music. Let's get together. I like my paganism huggy close. I don't know about you, Knight. I like my paganism huggy close. Let's sit around the living room. Let's sit around the fire and listen to music together. Let's talk old tales. Let's talk. So $5 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Okay. You know how many Patreon subscribers we've got? Take a guess.
Don't get me to the line.
4.
4.
That doesn't even pay our streaming bill.
So as leaders of the community and stuff, what are we supposed to do? I mean, trust me, I feel the same frustration as you do on that and the whole 9 yards. Me and the lady have gone through the whole entire conversations with each other. At what point, what are we supposed to do? At what point? I mean, it's not like we could drag the money out of them going, hey.
And we'll continue with IPR. We will continue with IPR. I'm not trying to make people feel guilty. I'm not.
No.
I'm not trying to make people feel guilty. I'm trying to point out that this is the state of our community.
Right.
Telling people, calling people out, making them feel guilty is not the answer. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to point out a challenge that we have. And I don't have the answers. I have looked for many years. I've tried different things. Goodness gracious, back in the day before me, I know other people have tried to find solutions too. Isaac was one of the ones that was trying his best, trying to find a solution. That I remember trying to find a solution. There was an old story, that was passed around that he was talking about, saying that we're pagan. If you're hungry, I'll give you my food. If you're sleepy, I'll let you sleep in my bed. If you're horny, here's my wife. You want money? Hell, get away from my wallet.
Well, see, this is here's what drives me up the wall is I will sit here and I will watch these pagans sit there and go, now I went out and spent all this money on all these books or all these crystals or all this other stuff, but I can't support my local temple. Yes. I can't support this organization. I can't support this, but I want this. I want the pagan radios. I want the pagan TV shows. I want this stuff, but I don't want to have to pay for it.
Right. And that kind of dovetails into another thing we talk about. I think it has a little bit to do with knee-jerk reaction to church. I think it dovetails into that. And I'm going to bring in a little of my psychology into this. And a lot of people don't. Some people don't know this, that my background is in psychology. My educational background is in psychology. Not clinical psychology, but psychology. I'm what's referred to as ABD and a doctorate in psychology. I don't hold a doctorate in psychology, but I'm right at that all but dissertation in a doctorate in psychology. So I have a little bit of experience. Whenever, and this will make sense in a minute, whenever we as humans split in a relationship, we tend to villainize the other. And that's any relationship. Personal, business, doesn't matter. Anytime there's a split in a relationship, we tend to villainize the other. Now, that's not a hard and fast. It's not an absolute. It doesn't happen all the time. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. And, that may be another conversation. But we just tend to.
Right.
Well, when we leave a religion or we leave a church,
we do the same thing.
That's a relationship. That's a spiritual relationship. So it's only normal that we villainize the other. So if most of us are coming out of a relationship with the church, then it is natural, it is normal to villainize the other in that relationship. So most of us are going to have that knee-jerk reaction against anything that smacks of Christianity because we just left a relationship with Christianity. So if we start talking about services, paying for services that revolve around religion.
Right.
Oh, no, that seems awful Christian to me. Get away from me with that, foul beast.
Right.
I'm not going to pay for religion. That's Christian. Well, no.
Oh, God forbid. You want me to pay a tithe?
Yeah, exactly. You're catching on. Right? You're following one of it.
Yeah.
You're picking up what I'm putting down, brother man.
Oh, I've seen that for years,
Exactly.
and it's.
But think about it. If we want to have services surrounding our spirituality, around our religion, somebody got to pay the bill.
Well, see, here's what drives me up the wall, and I see it in the gay community a lot too. Okay, oh, we don't have representation out here, blah 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 blah, and I go, well, wait a minute. I can go on YouTube, or I can go out on the web, and I can find 50,000 different movies that are gay oriented. We are making movies. They're not blockbusters on every street corner. No, but it's there. How can you say we don't have it? It's like paganism. It's out there. We have music. We have culture. It's there if you want to walk into it.
Well,
but
yes,
everybody pretends like it doesn't exist.
Well, you talk about it's not blockbuster and everything. Well, blockbuster movies is based on popular culture.
Right.
Okay. If we are same thing. Okay. Pagan and gay. Okay. Think about this. Okay. We are not center culture.
No.
Neither one. Do we want to be? No.
No.
I don't want paganism to be mainstream culture.
No, I don't either. But that's what everybody seems to want. We're not going to be there until we're in every mainstream theater, TV, the whole 9 yards. How about this? We don't do that. We just be ourselves.
Be ourselves. I mean, you're right. I mean, there are films out there. There's culture. We have our own culture.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of where we are. Are there still fringe groups out there that are pagan hating? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that.
Again, it's like we were told. If you go out and you look for homophobia, you're going to find it. If you go out looking for racism, you're going to find it.
But don't go looking for monsters where there are none.
Thank you.
Don't create the monsters where there don't need to be any. Does that make sense?
No. Yes.
Okay. Coming from my perspective, I'm not sure. You've got both of those tangents running with you. With the gay tangent and the pagan tangent, right?
Yeah.
But from my tangent here, one of those don't create monsters where there don't need to be any. Don't look for monsters where there are none.
You know what? After that one, I'm going to call it. I need coffee. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk